Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to this week's Speak Your Truth podcast. I'm Lori. If you've never seen me, this is me. I am a 53-year-old professional. I work for Ralph Lauren. I have a podcast that I recently decided on a whim, like yesterday, that I was going to start putting it on video. And let's see what happens, right? Let me tell you, this episode is how I pushed myself, in addition to how others helped in that, to do this. Because a lot of times when we want to do something and we're afraid to, but then we finally say, oh, screw it, let's do it. It's actually been a building process. It's been building up, and there have been lots of breadcrumbs, as you may have heard before. And these breadcrumbs we don't pay attention to until we have that aha moment and we decide to jump. So back in March, I went to this all-day thing. It's for Women in Motion. There was a speaker there. Her story, she stood up and she talked about this story, and she was like, I went to my husband and I said, do you trust me? Do you trust me? I want to do something that's absolutely insane, and I need to know if you trust me. And I thought, if I said that to my husband, he'd be like, well, yeah, I trust you, but what the hell do you want? It kind of, made me laugh, but I kept listening because she was a very good speaker. And she wanted to go to some kind of coaching school to be a public speaker. She wanted to share her story and talk about her story. And it's funny because it ends up that her story is about stepping into your own light, speaking your truth, and talking about getting out of your own way, getting out of your own comfort zone, and showing up to who you're meant to be in this world. I've been working on this for 30 years, and I am like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. I am a very, very slow learner. So I went to this thing, so enjoyed it, started following her on LinkedIn. She does a great job. But from there, I didn't really think much more of it, but I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. You decide you want to do something, and your husband's like, yeah, babe, I trust you. I got us. We'll figure it out. My husband and I like to go to Disney. There's a lot of money that comes in and out, and one of us can't just say, hang on a minute, let me not work for 6 months and see what happens. So I just was like, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. It was great. I felt inspired. And that's what you want when you leave one of those events. You want to feel inspired. You want to feel like somebody came and told you a story and it really meant something to you. So that was back in March. And in the meantime, I had joined my friend Beth in her intuition class. And she was launching a course. Her next course launches next month. So if you're into intuition, hit me up, leave me a message. I will get you the link because her class is amazing. She is super, super sciencey, and she gives you how it all connects in the science part. And when I started taking this class, I was like, I really want to hone in on my intuition. I think that will help me move forward and figure out what I want to do. Because at the time, I was really fighting wanting to be a coach, wanting to be a life coach, even though if you've listened to some of my previous podcasts, or if you haven't, you can do that. But I had a coach who knew this is what I should be doing when I was in my 20s. I'm 53 years old. So when I say that I've been working on this for 30 some odd years, I am not joking. I it took about 2 weeks into this intuition class, and I turned around and I was like, I have to coach people. That is exactly what I'm called to do. I am here to help others step out of their own way, clear out all that crap, and do what they're meant to do. Just like that's what I'm supposed to do. And so this class just grew and grew and grew with me. The more I was in the room with these women, there were about 5 of us, 4 of us, 4 or 5 of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 5 of us on a regular basis. This was her practice class where she put all the stuff together and she just wanted to make sure it flowed well, flowed wonderfully. But all of us in that class were already very familiar with our own intuition. But we also have other things that we shared with each other. We would learn from each other. We talked about angels. We talked about guides. We talked about a lot of different stuff, which if you know me, I'm very woo-woo. I like this kind of stuff. I do this kind of stuff. I believe in soul work much more than I believe in anything else. And I believe our souls are attached to our higher power, which a lot of people call that God. And I call that God. So just so we're clear. After that class was done, I was kind of sad because I didn't want it to be over because I was enjoying it so much. So I had to find some other stuff to do. And then my coach launched a new program and I was like, oh yeah, I need some fire. I need somebody to light a fire and get me moving. Right. So in the meantime, before that came up, because that just started about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And in the meantime, you know how when you talk about something and Siri and what's her face, I can't say it because she'll hear me, listen. Well, all of a sudden there was this public speaking boot camp in my Facebook feed. Free. Join us for 5 days of free public speaking boot camp and literally 30 minutes. So it was like during my lunch, 30 minutes, all done on Facebook. And it was probably one of the best free trainings I've ever done. And I'm not even kidding. There was no way that you were not going to learn what you needed to do to become a public speaker. And so I did this. And then when that was done, I made this post out on my Instagram. So I even think I missed the last day because I was like, oh yeah, I got it. Because that's how I am with everything. Half-ass about everything. One of my biggest things has always been about not knowing what to do. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone because I want to find that post. That's not it. It's been a lot longer ago than I thought. So anyway, the post was basically talking about making progress, pushing forward, and learning to do what you're supposed to do. And I basically posed the question, is there something you've always wanted to do, but were afraid to do? And keep in mind that this post was for me to tell you that I could help you. And I can. So if you have something that you want to do, I am really good at reading people and providing good guidance on those things. But the post itself said that I recently thought about or felt a pull to do some public speaking, to find some gigs, some speaking gigs where I can go and talk to people and talk about my story. And I didn't really think anything of it because that was not the purpose of my post. The purpose of my post was offering my services. what my parents saw in that post, and I say my parents because my mother saw it and showed it to my dad, because my dad is anti-social media, and that's fine. It's just as well. He would not be happy with all the stuff that we post anyway. It's and I went to pick them up for my brother's birthday. My husband and I went by their house, picked them up to drive over to my brother's birthday party. It's my brother's 50th birthday. And we're in the house and we're leaving. He's like, hey, I was telling Jenny about what you want to do. He goes, you should call her. She could probably help you. I hadn't thought anything more about that post. And I just hadn't. I hadn't thought anything more about it. And I was like, listen, they're looking at him going, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, because, I'm always saying that I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. And I want to do this too. He goes, you know what Nito does. You want to be a public speaker. And I went, oh. I could feel the blood leaving my face. I told this story last week on my podcast. I could feel the blood leave my face. I was like, holy shit, what have you done? Not me. What had my dad done? Because I was like, I know that I put that out there, but that was not why. I put it out there for encouraging others. Not that I hadn't already started down that path a little bit, but Jenny is the Dean of Communications at High Point University. So if you want to be a public speaker, what better place than to go to the communications department at the local university? And Nito is Dr. Quilbain, the president of High Point University and world-renowned public speaker. And I was mortified. And I just laughed because I looked up and I went, that's what happens when you put it out in the universe. The universe, just like those other two ladies I mentioned earlier, they're listening too. So if you want to do something and you speak it out loud, or you type it out loud, or share it with somebody, just know that you're putting it out in the universe. So I calmed down because that was last week. It's a week ago. It's been a week and a half. So I've calmed down since then. And then last weekend, I was like, you know what? I want to learn to public speak, and I want to learn to tell a story. And I want to see my face and talk like I'm talking to someone. Then why don't I do my podcast and put it out on YouTube? Because then there's a video. It's not just me sitting in front of this microphone. I'm not even sure how this is recording because I don't have an earbud in. I hope this whole thing is even working. But I'm doing it messy because perfection is something that will try to kill me if I don't push it to the side. So here I am on YouTube because I needed to push myself, but also others pushed me as well to get out onto YouTube, to start talking about and speaking my own truth. And that is not magic. It's just, you can stand at the edge of the diving board and bounce up and down, or you can jump. I like being in the pool, so I'm going to jump. That's all I got for you guys this week. I will see you here next week with my friend A.E. Reed. He's an artist, creative. He's an all-around great human being. He is so nice and so fun. And I can't wait to see what he comes up with. And we will have an excellent conversation. So we will see you here next week. Thanks for coming. We'll see you soon.